tens of thousands of online grooming crimes have been recorded during the wait for the update on the online safety laws. Campaigners are urging tech companies and MPs to back the online safety bill and are calling for no more hold-ups. It's been a slog getting this thing through. The bill, which aims to crack down on illegal content, has faced repeated delays and amendments. The children's charity, the NSPCC, says 34,000 online grooming crimes have been recorded by UK police forces since it first called for tougher laws in 2017. Maggie Oliver is a former detective constable with Greater Manchester Police. This is an area you know well, Maggie. I mean, I mentioned that figure of 34,000 and the percentage of kids on messaging app. I'm pretty sure the numbers are much bigger than this. This is an open playground for people who are intent on nefarious and horrendous crimes, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Ian. And I think that the reality is that it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better, because young people today, children, they have always got a device in their hands. I've got two grandsons, and they've always got either a tablet or they're playing on a game. Mm-hmm. So I think it is a danger that exists. It's never going to go away. And what we need to do is try to get ahead of the game. Obviously, I'm a former police officer, and what I would say about this particular kind of crime is that to expect policing to resolve it, we are living in cloud cuckoo land. Sure. Police now tend to be very much a jack of all trades and a master of none. And those people who are grooming children online are very often very sophisticated and very knowledgeable. So I think we need to be looking way beyond catching them and punishing them in addressing this and keeping our children safe. I've seen that the NSPCC are saying that they would like the tech companies to, bear more of the responsibility for protecting children, and perhaps looking at the end-to-end encryption and how it can be kind of superseded or overcome. And yeah, I do believe that that's part of the answer.
In terms of we've got these huge numbers, and grooming is obviously what most of the perpetrators here are trying to do. What would the online safety bill, or what would you like it to achieve that could, at the very least, Maggie, reduce the number of people?
I think that we do need better safety controls within apps, within messaging apps. But it's a very fine line to tread that, because, do we really want Big Brother to be able to see and stop everything we do? But we have to look at the protection of children. So I think we have to have a really wide range of methods to do this. Partly, well, very, very clearly, I think education is a big part of protecting kids. So whether that's in the family, in the school, wherever kids are, we need to prepare them for those risks. Parental controls. But, in my experience, especially now with the Maggie Oliver Foundation, very often those children most at risk are those that don't have a very strong parental support network around them. And groomers are, they're very, very clever at identifying where those vulnerable children are. And they will get through any blockages put in their way. But I do think conversation, education, some controls that perhaps are automatic unless they are physically overruled, that they're not able to be overruled. I know at the moment that checks on ages of children who are accessing these apps and Facebook and TikTok, they are really not worth the paper they're written on. And children of 10 and 11 years old, Ian, are just not prepared to protect themselves from...
Well, they're not. A case I know of, Maggie, where this is sort of friend of the family, a young girl found herself, because her parents checked, that she was being spoken to. She was 12, I think, at the time, or thereabouts, and there was an older guy who was about 30. The police got involved, blah, 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 tried to put a stop to it. I think they might have managed to arrest the guy. Fast forward 6 months, the guy's back in communication with her, and her parents said, why are you communicating? She said, because he promised me another 250 followers. And
I know.
that spoke the language that was worth more. She thought, I could deal with this risk. I'm not going to meet this guy. He's promising me these followers. You know, the guy was clearly a child sex or potential child sex offender who was grooming, and that's all it took. We're dealing with kids here.
And we are. I mean, I can tell you a case that we recently dealt with within the foundation, and I would also say that if there's parents or family members of children who, you know, are at risk, to come to us for help. But we had a recent case here where we had an 11-year-old child who, for some reason, had been befriended on an app on Facebook by somebody who said that they were 14 years old. The phone was kept ringing this particular night. The father went in and said, "You've got school in the morning, I want your phone." Took the phone and it kept pinging next to his bed. So he opened the phone and there was a whole series of messages there from what was clearly a paedophile who had encouraged this child to send photographs that she was now trapped in this place where he was threatening to tell her family, to tell her friends. The father rang the police, and the police went round to the house and 2 officers walked in. You've got a terrified 11-year-old child in the corner whose father has seen inappropriate pictures of her. The police walk in and say to the father, "Before you say anything, we want to talk to your daughter." They walked up to the little girl and said, "Before you say anything else, we want you to say that, do you know you are guilty of a criminal offence by sending inappropriate photographs on your phone? But if you delete everything and destroy the messages, we will take no further action." Now, that father threw those 2 police officers out of the house and he came to us and we were able to advocate for that family.
That's an extraordinary first line from the attending officers.
Yeah, it's not unique. So I'm saying I don't believe that police are equipped to... You can't prosecute every online groomer. We need safety measures in there, and I think it's the tech giants that need to be looking out for them. But
and what about the online... What I was about to say, the tech giants themselves. I mean, they may say that the algorithms will be so good in years to come that we will immediately be able to winkle it out, but they've been saying that kind of thing for years.
I would like to see them put their money where their mouth is. You know, in my experience, they're looking at the bottom line and how much money they can make, and they don't really care about the children that are caught in this horrendous world, which is nowadays extremely dangerous. You know, technology has opened up so many avenues for us, but alongside it, there are really serious risks and dangers that need to be balanced out with our rights as well. You know, I don't want Big Brother looking down my neck if I send a message. So it's where we draw those lines and why are these protective measures being put in place?
Well, if all of this was happening in real time in the street or in a playground or a park, we'd be dealing with it like that. But because it's sort of the digital world, for some reason, we're somehow, or authorities are somehow sort of vaguely removed from it. Maggie, listen, we stopped there for time, but we will speak again on this, I'm sure. Maggie Oliver, former detective with Greater Manchester Police. She's chair of the Maggie Oliver Foundation. Thank you to her.